discussion more productive. This I generally use definition. And that's pretty universal, I've found, although you may have other uses. This one, it kind of tends to be an open-ended one for me. It depends on what I'm talking about, what this is going to be. Sometimes it's a picture, sometimes it's characteristics. Although I found, for me, these two, the definition and the characteristics, tend to be kind of redundant in math. A lot of times I'll do real-life uses, and kids seem to appreciate that, particularly when it comes to math, because, when am I going to use this? They say money every time, but it's pretty true for what they're learning. But anyway, some variations that people have talked about as we've gone through the group. Some people put their word or concept up at the top and do a picture here. Some people color code them on note cards or dots or whatever, so they can group things later on. I use these as vocabulary cards, so I give kids a ring and then do the vocabulary words on note cards, and then they've got a ring of vocabulary words. They like to use those during tests and stuff. I do these in notes as well. If they've seen the concept or the word many times, and we've already talked about this a few times, then they may see it on an assessment or a ticket at the door or warm-up, something of that sort. Still, do you have any questions on Freyer?
So the original term for the upper right box was characteristics, but
yeah, that's the one that is kind of on the standard example.
okay.
But I do believe there is some flexibility within that.
Okay.
Other questions? So how might you guys use Freyer model? How would you use it? How do you use it?
Yes, for me, like sometimes if there's going to be difficult words in the passage that can be very pivotal to our understanding the individual, I might use it then. Like not every single vocab word they might come across, but like a word that's going to come up over and over again, I definitely use it then for it to help them. Or like a genre of literature or writing.
Okay. Overarching set of musical terms like dynamics. What is the definition of dynamics? Dynamics are how we do louds, volume, and then you can do examples, non-examples. Staccato marks are not examples of dynamics, because I would probably get frogs too, honestly.
So I guess my question is, if it's a new concept, like, would I go more into the new concept rather than, because I feel like if they have to come up with a non-example,
right, so
if they're not that familiar with it, then that might be useful.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I am using it to introduce something, I'm filling it out with them, I'm for them, and they're copying it down. It's only later after we've done probably this together and probably used it that they would do it on their own.
Oh, so you give it to them again or something?
Yeah.
Right on, so they like study that.
Yeah.
Study what you've given them.
Right. Right.
And some of them might get actually more, as the concept goes on, they may develop their own examples and non-examples that maybe you didn't think of in the original one, just based upon knowledge they've gained throughout the unit of what you're doing.
Right.
If I were still teaching science, I might use this for a term that would be, say, a large classification. So I'm thinking vertebrates. So I'd have a specific definition for vertebrates. In there, I would do characteristics because it would be helpful. And examples and non-examples I'd do in amoeba. So for vertebrate, meaning possessing a backbone, come up with something that's still a form of life, but clearly doesn't have that.
I like your concept of having them on note cards and have that be a resource they can use on tests. Because we're not testing can you memorize all the characteristics lists. We're testing does it actually make sense to you and you can now solve a problem with it. So I really like that. I have this resource in my back pocket and then I'm going to go up from there on my test.
And I think in some contents that works. And like for me, like if a kid doesn't know what dynamics is, I don't want them flipping through it every time I ask them what mezzo forte means or something like that.
No, but like for actually taking a test, like in math or in science or something.
Right, something like that, I think, yeah.
Gives kids a little boost of confidence.
Sure.
you know this stuff, you can do it.
Right. And sometimes they don't even need it.
I like the picture a lot too because, like, a trapezoid and parallelogram might be so close where if you have a picture right there, you're like, okay, I know what this looks like. That doesn't look like this. It can't be that.
Right. Another idea, just going from Jimmy's question, is you could maybe fill out all of these things and leave this blank, and make them put that word in there, or leave one spot blank and have them do the one spot.
I loved your framework for the non-example too, because I remember when it first came out, I was like, I don't see the power in that. When you just put there, what would you confuse it with? You really focus on it, which is great.
Yeah, because the non-example, what could you confuse it with makes it way more content specific.
Yeah.
Even when we were learning this, like that week of training, I was confused with, like, so a non-example could be anything that's not this. Like, done! It's an easy one.
Right, and a lot of kids would take the